For people who can't quite imagine reframing these uncomfortable or even horrible situations, do you have an example you can give us of what happened and how you reframed it into that positive learning?
I invested in a few courses when it was when I was at the point of trying to figure out my business strategy and trying to figure out okay, I'm going off on my own now. What do I do? Where do I go? There was a few programs that I purchased that I invested a lot of time and money into. And there was one specific program that I was super excited about that I really was hoping was going to be the answer. And really, I mean, I invested a lot of emotional energy into it, thinking that that was the answer. And everyone that was taking part of the program at the same time as I was seeing results, and I wasn't. It was pretty black and white. I was the one that was not getting the results. I wasn't getting, the engagement scores of my posts, and I wasn't getting the visibility, and my connections were less. Everything was kind of less than. And it was just really rough. I was like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I do this? Everyone else in this group seems to be able to figure it out. Why can't I? And this specific situation, the reason I chose this one is because this was a really big deal for me. It was a very high ticket program. It was something that I just invested a lot in showing up. I gave up a lot of time, canceled a lot of appointments, got babysitters for my kids. I really did a lot to be able to put myself all into the program, thinking okay, it's worth it. It's worth the money. It's worth the time. It's worth my sacrifices, my investments, because it's going to get me the result. It's guaranteeing everyone else, and whatever. And it didn't. And it was really hard, and it was really frustrating. And at that moment, I was like, you know what? If I can't do it, if I can't accomplish this successfully, if I can't follow the step-by-step process that they're teaching everyone, that everyone else seems to be successfully accomplishing. Now, I think it's important to plug in that was just my perspective. It's not true. I had to tell myself, that is not true. What you're seeing, what you're hearing, everyone in this room is not succeeding except for you. It's not true. But I didn't believe it. But that is the fact. What you see on social media, what you hear from other people, just remember, what you see is not always what's going on behind closed doors. But I was definitely in a mindset of, I'm a failure. I'm the only one that can't do this. Everyone else around me, maybe it's because of my age, maybe it's because of my lack, of, I don't know what, okay? I had all my limiting beliefs. I had all my false beliefs in my head screaming really, really loudly. Tamar, you just are not made for this. You're not cut out for this. Just go back to being a mommy and what are you doing? It was a really, really tough time. And so it was at that moment that kind of what you're explaining, where someone's feels that there's just no more hope. How am I gonna do this? I don't know how I could even reframe this mindset. It was at that moment that I was like, okay, so if I give up, what is that gonna cost me? And it sounds funny, but when you sit down and you say okay, so I'm not cut out for this. So what am I gonna do? So what's all the time, money, energy, investments, and sacrifices that I've made to get to this point? They were all for nothing. They were all just a waste of time. I don't know. I had to ask myself. And I remember saying it's just been a total waste of my time. I never should have done this. I should have just been a mommy like I'm supposed to be. My 2 kids, they need me, and I shouldn't have done this. And I was like, Tamar, you're not gonna get any farther by talking like this, by saying this. Ultimately, I want to be the best person I can be. And I think for everyone listening, if you think of yourself in a time where you were just done, all hope out the window, this is not for me, I'm not doing this, depressed, totally defeated, just sit down for a moment and say, and validate yourself and just talk out loud. You're right. You're a total fail. You're a total fail. You wasted all your time, all your energy. You never should have done this in the first place. And you might find that you have nothing to respond to that voice, because that's what I found. I was like, okay, fine. Okay, it wasn't a waste. But then what was it? But then suddenly I'm like having a conversation with myself, right? It's like, okay, fine. Okay, you're right. It wasn't a fail. It wasn't a waste. What has worked? Has anything worked? Okay, maybe 1 or 2 things, but there's like 100 million things that haven't worked out. Okay, but were there 1 or 2 things that did? Okay, so if I stop doing those 2 things, what does that cost me? And starting to like unravel and talk to the limiting beliefs that I had in my head is when I very slowly started to move and shift into the mindset that I was talking about before. Now, you have to have the right people in place. There's not a chance I could have done it by myself. That's number 1, not a chance. Number 2, understanding what I would have lost by not continuing was very powerful for me. Now, again, worked for me, might not work for everyone. And this is this specific situation that happened to me was actually my turning point in figuring out what it is that I truly want to do and how I really want to help people and show up. And it's exactly in this way of understanding that what I had been doing up until that point was taking all these self-appointed gurus and all the experts and everyone else who, was selling courses and programs and coaching, whatever it was. I was basically just trying to take their solution and like copy and paste it into my life. And the reason I wasn't getting results is because that's just not going to work. A solution that worked for someone else's business is not necessarily going to work for mine. And it's not that those courses are bad, not at all. I gained a tremendous amount of tools and helpful things from most of them. But I had to then figure out, Tamar, like for you and for your situation, how can I take what I've learned and now apply it to me? And I was missing that point. And so that's why I wasn't being successful. And so that's when the switch in my mind was like, oh my goodness, because I had this horrible situation, because I felt like an absolute loser and I was ready to quit and give up and leave everything behind. Because of this planted the seeds. This was the turning point in my career where I realized what I really want to be doing. And so I am no expert. I'm not here to say that like the toughest point, that you're referring to, like I'm not here to say that that's going to be it for you. Because again, I'm not a believer in one size fits all strategies at all. That's like all the work that I do, right? Owning yourself, making it your own. But I think it's important to remember that number 1, everyone has that point in their life at some point where they feel like they're done, life stinks, everyone's out to get them, they're not cut out for whatever it is that they're doing, and they might as well just stop. So when you feel like you're having that conversation in your head, stop and say, you're right, I should just stop. And talk to that voice and then see what response you have. And you challenge me, like you could totally challenge me. Like it could be that doesn't work for everyone. I'm not sure. Like, again, this is my experience. This is what this is when you said, to think of an example, like that's just the one that I felt like probably could resonate with most people, but I totally would love to hear you come back and say like, okay, no, but that doesn't, that wouldn't work. Or like, I'd love to hear, you fight back on it.